strategy. And we've been saying this for so long. We don't need kids and their place back home, which is a very, very valid argument if we're going to put it keep it 100. But at the same time, what do we do? Because if we keep on enriching them, what happens in the long run to them? Okay. This the newspaper we have. Beg your pardon. Yes, I am done with the Disney newspaper.
Moving on to the Daily Trust newspaper. Insecurity. Tinubu approves new army battalion for Kwara. Reps order probe of recovered assets since 1999.
Okay. Next up, we have. You know what I found interesting about Rep's other probe of recovered assets in 1999? That's when Nigeria got her, I almost said independence, became a democratic nation.
Yes.
Now the House of Reps is saying we want to recover everything from the year 1999. I thought that was really interesting. But make we say see, make we they see. In the Vanguard, we have Edo closes case on trial of suspected kidnappers in special court. Also, we have Oshun 2026. Aregbesola leads ADC campaign in Ife.
Moving on to the Premium Times newspaper. Gunmen invade Anambra community, kill for raise houses. NNPP meets INEC deadline, submits 355 NASS presidential candidates.
Okay.
The Nation.
That's from the Nation. In the cable newspaper.
No, you are taking the Nation.
Okay. 2027, Tinubu's victory is done deal. North Central agenda declares. That's all we've been seeing. People are declaring for Tinubu. He's going to come back. He's going to come back. He's going to come back. We're bringing him back. Yet, I think I just wonder as to how. I think the audacity of these individuals saying we're declaring for Tinubu. Like when you do that, what is that supposed to bring? What is that supposed to mean? I don't know. Anyway, moving on to the next one. Reps seek nationwide audit of seized forfeited assets since 1999.
Moving on to the cable newspaper. Don't allow it. FCTCP ask
residents to resist phone searches by police officers. We have talked about this on the Daily News Review a couple of times, how it is illegal for individuals to be searched. Like, why are we searched? What happened? Am I owing you money? Is it me and you that are sharing car? Kind of thing. So why not the FCT Commission of Police is now saying desist phone searches. The problem is that police officers are carrying ammunition, they're carrying guns, they're carrying weapons with them. If I now resist, and this happens a lot to young men on the streets, right? Saying, oh, what are we going to do? Young men on the streets worried about these kind of things that are dressed in a certain way. Maybe they have dreadlocks, maybe they're wearing ripped jeans. How do they defend themselves to say, oh, actually, they say people should not search us. It's the secular sense to everybody. Yeah. Okay, I'm not going anywhere. Chris Musa again denies resignation report after meeting with Tinubu. Daily Post, we have ADC dismisses rumors of Adamawa governorship candidate's replacement. Still on the Daily Post, we have INEC officials demand 2,000 naira before releasing PVCs in Anambra. Resident alleges.
Moving on to the Tribune newspaper. Terror financing biggest threat to African society. Federal government tells African Union. Food security. Ekiti government distribute subsidized agrochemicals to farmers. Finally, from the pen pushing newspaper. Fire destroys 17 shops in Lagos market.
Oh dear. That's sad.
INEC begins 2026 recruitment.
Those are the headlines from the national dailies this morning. You want to do well to get your copy. Better still, stick around with us as we get into the thick of things this morning with our analyst, who I see is back with us. Hi, Buki. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, everybody. It's our newspaper review family. Good morning, and how are you today? It's Wednesday, bright day. Yes, and how are you, Nima and Fumi as well? I'm fine. I'm fine. I know that's the next question. I'm
Yeah, we're
fine.
good. We're good. We're good here. We're good
And I
over
have
here.
to
Okay,
join
let's
the
get into it this morning. I found this so interesting. The NSCDC bust fake Lagos Varsity rescues 107 students. I have so many questions for this. The Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps has uncovered a fake university in the Imeke area of Olorunda local council development area of Lagos State, where operators allegedly admitted students into unaccredited programs and compelled them to join a Ponzi scheme. The NSCDC says 6 suspects were arrested during the operation, while 107 students were rescued from the illegal institution. Were the students rescued though? The core public relations officer, Oluwaseun Aboluri, said that this fake institution was discovered during an operation carried out on Monday. That was just 2 days ago, July 20th, at about 6 a.m. And we don't know the name of the university. They've withheld the university name. And then these suspects aged between 24 and 31 years. And this is at the location Badagry, Emeka in Badagry. Apparently, these 107 students were unsuspecting and they did not know anything, but I have so many questions. So, the Lagos State Commandant of the NSCDC, Dr. Keshiro, has now warned prospective students to be wary of fraudulent admission offers, noting that desperate admission seekers often fall victim to criminal schemes. This is very, very, very true. I'm trying to look for how much they said they paid. I found it somewhere, but I can't find it anymore. I think okay, that was on social media today. According to the statement, the victims have toiled and suffered for months in the hands of these evil doers. When I saw they've suffered and toiled, I was like, were these 107 students accommodated? Because I'm suspecting that this 3 bedroom flat is just a flat, not like accommodation, right? Because even in normal universities, you don't have to stay on campus. You
Yes.
can get your own private residence. So many questions to ask. Number one is, how did this student
How did this university or polytechnic or whatever it is come
no,
into
not
existence?
even that, is the
Then
student that one we're going together is that students were
didn't they gain admission through JAM?
and they didn't. That's what it is. Because the one of the universities on one hand, we will get to that. But the immediate one is, it's like if you go somewhere. I remember when I was looking for a job when I was really, really young, straight from university, you will get those random text messages, and I'm sure that I have people who can bear me witness that they will say, "Come to XYZ place. You've been shortlisted for an
Yes.
interview." I went for one. And
Mm.
as I entered, I was all decked. I was working, but I wanted to change my job. But so I went there, somewhere in Adekunle. I got there and then I sat and I was like, immediately I entered, I was like, you're in the wrong place. You and because I just realized that they were looking for. I don't even know what they were doing. I left. I was like, They were like, oh, you can't leave. I said, I can't very much leave. I have agency, I have autonomy over myself. I can leave. We've also seen a lot of people who have gone for interviews and it turned out to be trafficking rings, right? So
Yes.
the onus is on you, first of all, to do your due diligence. Tobama Law University or even an office, you will Google, you will research on that
Do they
university.
exist?
Do they exist? Who are they?
This
How long
thing
have they
is
been
this
functional
thing is
for?
giving this phantom agency
It's giving.
vibes.
That's why I didn't want to get it because I'm like, because that one is just doing my head in. Is that students? Did they not teach them? Book FM. We are live on YouTube at WFM 917, and you can listen to us on the go via our website www.wfm917.com. I don't want to be exasperated again this morning, but it looks like I am about to be again.
Yeah, your
Uh,
big English.
me and my big you can text us, WhatsApp us on 0703 or 081559179117. That's WhatsApp, text message, or voice note. The phone lines will be open shortly. But Bookie, I don't, maybe I should just ask you all the question at the same time. Number one is these students, it makes me worry the crop of students that are leaving secondary school,
Yes.
because by now I would like to think that they would teach you from secondary school SS3 how to make independent decisions for yourself, how to do
Exactly.
independent research, right? At least in my daughter's primary school, I know that they do debate, and the last debate I didn't even get involved. I asked her, go do your research yourself, and she did. She and our AI tool, our friendly AI tool, she did. She Googled. I was like, this is how you type. She did by herself, and she's 8. And no, I'm not comparing. No, I recognize that my daughter has a little bit of privilege because she has devices. She has parents who can provide those things for her.
But
However,
the teachers are there to ask.
yes,
I didn't make my decision about my university
your
alone.
parents are there to ask.
We're even talking about school, right? My teachers helped me. I went to meet them. They made us have uniform decisions.
Yeah.
Okay, this is how you people go for jam. What do you want to study? I want to
Yes.
study law.
Yes.
This is the subject combination.
Yes.
I want to study mass communication.
Uh-huh.
This is the subject communication.
Yeah.
These are universities.
Yeah.
This is good. They do that in many schools.
Because when they say desperation, I'm sorry. I know that Nigeria is turning on its own, and people like it's really really wild out there. But I'm sorry, I cannot buy the desperation. Because like you, when I was in secondary school, in fact, my secondary school was the type that everybody had to do the same subject in SS1. They didn't want people to start going to art class or commercial or science from SS1. They were like, all of us did all the subjects, science or art or commercial.
When I had go hot.
Yes, because but there were some that were optional, but everybody had to do it because some people want to go to science class because their friends are in science class. Some people want to go to art class because their friends are in art class. So our teachers were like, this like, based off of your results, my dear.
Yes.
Oh, the science class, and it was informed decision with you. They'll tell you this is what you got, and then your parents were also involved. Like it will be in your report card. So seeing this, I'm so upset at this because there we go to the next question. How was this university able to fly?
Exactly.
Phantom Agency Part 3 or Part 4, we don't even know.
Didn't they do? Because when you register for JAM, right there at the CBT Center, you are given list of accredited universities. Even if you don't know where you want to go, they will tell you, pick this school, pick that school. This is where you can go based on your O levels. This is very competitive. When I was registering for JAM the first time around, they told me point blank, pick this. When I was like second choice, third choice, the attendant there was like, he will just put accredited universities, beg your pardon.
Yeah.
Since I've made up my mind on University of Ilorin for my first choice.
Yeah.
So
even private universities, you have to do JAM.
You have to go through
So
JAM.
I was going to say, do you know what? Let's let Bookie have the floor. Bookie, over. We have asked plenty questions. Over to you. You know you're the nation builder, so yeah. Over.
It is well. It is well. Can you hear me?
We can. Yes, we can.
Yeah, I heard you both. And I'd also reflected on some of the things you mentioned. But I want to come from this perspective that this is telling us the failure of institutions. I will not just talk about government, but also education, the institutions around education. This is where we talk about even the school system, right? All the partners, the stakeholders that are helping people, that are helping people for moving forward in their lives. Parents as well, guidance as well. And of course, I would also bring in the media, I'll bring in religious bodies. I know where I'm going. Then, of course, the umbrella body, which is the government. This issue of 106 young people, let's look at that community. In fact, when I first had the name, I said, is this in Lagos State? But I found out that it was in Badagry. We do not know the kind of development that that place has, right? We don't know. We're only assuming that they're well informed. Even the so-called, because I had Nima say at the PBT and all that, we don't even know how they operate there. That 106 young people believed this thing was genuine. And mind you, it was a distant learning center. Assumed, right? Because they promised these people admission into a foreign university. People do that. That's when you probably come, I mean, in some foreign universities, they come around, they have fairs and things like that. And then, of course, you also have distant learning, centers, that they open you up and all that. They must have studied it, because you mentioned the age of the suspects, between 24 and 31. Their minds are sharp. They must have studied what happens, and they come to replicate. They believe, that place is safe for them, because they found out that the people there are gullible. They don't know what is happening. But I'm still coming to the youths, because most of them, they must have gotten all these things through WhatsApp and whatever it is. So the question would be that, what are they looking for? Are they searching the right things, that these people were gullible? And the issue of influence, one person will say, yes, that's Kulowapa, and before you know what is happening, it's a community. Everybody will just flow in line. But the question is, I think it was Fumi that mentioned it. Do they teach people on how to think? I will come from that critical thinking. I'm not sure we do that again, where you begin to make students think for themselves. Why would a distant learning who says they're accredited to a foreign university, fine, they might operate a small office, but where are these universities? Did they bother to check? Did they bother to have evidences, right? And even their conduct, critical thinking skills. But you see, this thing is not cheap. You need to have been brought up in that line. And that's one of the things that I'm always talking about in our curriculum. We do not make people think. That's why when people think, either the teacher believes that this person, you are talking too much, you think you know too much, and they want to suppress that thought. Or when you get into the university, well, I wouldn't know if that has changed. You dare not ask questions to show that you are thinking. The lecturer will believe that you know too much. But those are the things that will help us in developing our nation, where you can think to say, okay, let me even Google, is this accredited? Do you know that NUC has a website? I had to check this morning to be sure of my facts. I know they have a website, but I just wanted to know what was on that website, right? And it's there. List of accredited universities, started from federal, state, private, transnational educational institutions, distance learning centers, because this is where it falls in. Then approved affiliation. Those are the ones that are affiliated with seminaries, theological schools, and things like that. It's there. You can only hold the government that Are you sure that it's updated on a yearly basis? Right? The angle of did they do jam or whatever it is, because this has nothing to do with it, because they already know is admission into foreign university. Right. But the question is, they saw them, they were gullible, and they took advantage of that. And it shows a whole lot about Nigeria. One, desperation for education. These are innocent people, though I have mentioned it because I can tell you everybody has access to a smartphone. Everybody has, because how did they get to know? They must have filled the form online. They must have gone to, even if their parents do not have smartphone, they must have gone to a, what do you call it, a computer center or something. In that community, it will be good for us, for them to really investigate what happened. I'm happy that they're investigating. A whole lot will happen that it's probably they have been caged. And they believe that, oh, these people, these young people, okay, yes, they're seeing what they want. Oh, yes, they studied abroad and they're willing to pay between 200. I'm not too sure if this is correct, but I read it somewhere, to collect between 200K and over 1 million. I'm wondering that where did they get all that kind of money from? So there are deeper issues in all this, but it just tells us as Nigeria that it's not just about the 105 or whatever it is, but one, desperation for education. How many universities do we have? How many children move from the SS3 into university? There was a time we were looking at this analysis that gradually it is falling from primary school to JSS, and then now to SSS. And then let us look at how many students go for WAEC and the total number of admissions that our federal universities, state, and public university can take. Let us even remove private, because not everybody can afford it. That's the truth. And that is where the proliferation of, all kinds of centers are moving on, because people want education. And it's critical for Nigeria, all the stakeholders, to look at this thing. Then, of course, information gap. I will always refer to we getting reformation in terms of our curriculum, what we tell, extracurricular activities and things like that, particularly in the public schools. Maybe private will take that time. But how many public teachers have that time to go through? I remember in my own time, apart from my parents, the teachers too were there. I mean, but we are talking of how many years ago? You understand how many years ago? Over 45 years or thereabout. More than that, if I can even remember. Yes, 86. No, 81. 81. So you can imagine my own time. I'm ancient. But I know even now, even when my own children were doing that, but we are enlightened. How many of that do we have in all these remote areas, which is calling for the attention of the government, the local government of that place? You talk about maybe superb or whatever it is. It calls for attention, and let's look at it. How did this happen? And what should we do that this must not happen again? I can tell you that this that happened is happening somewhere else again. So they need to begin to look at those things. Information gap. Where did they search? Distance learning. Are they not supposed to search? With this issue of everybody is on WhatsApp and all that. And this is where I hold the students accountable. They should take responsibility for that, because they were not searching rightly. I'm sure they are good on TikTok, they are good on, all these frizzy things and all that and all that. But the real issue, they did not. Then, of course, I want to talk about weak regulatory awareness. What is NUC doing? What is NUC doing? They should have their eyes on the ground to nip a whole lot of things. This that has happened should make them to begin to look everywhere now. Then, of course, I also want to talk about the angle from the use of unemployment. You see, because when we talk about developing a nation, yes, I know it's good to go to the regular schools, but can we also begin to look at skill acquisition centers, technical colleges, right? And make it vibrant, that at least you go in there, you have a skill. I know everybody does skill acquisition, but we need to begin to look at how we do this skill acquisition thing. How is it affecting, the lifestyle of that person? Because when they see that you have gone through skill acquisition and you are doing well, you understand, they also will want to. But when they say, oh, you have gone through skill acquisition and they cannot see any change in you, in your lifestyle, particularly you, they'll say, you know what, let me go for education. And then, of course, this craze, it's a foreign university, right? And then, of course, I have said what the government should do. They already have a portal, NUC, but I do not know if it's updated annually. And it should be one of the things they must put into our curriculum, particularly those that are doing SS3, because these are issues. So they need to begin to update their curriculum. I don't know where that one will sit in the subject, but they need to, or even do an online course for every SS3. Just go on the portal and read about these things. How do you know which school is genuine? What do you do? And things like that. And then, of course, the teachers also should help, particularly in the public sector, because we see not all teachers in the public sector are like private sector, but we need to begin to look at this. Talking about stronger enforcement, I've mentioned that. Then, of course, this is where we now talk about parents. As long as you have a smartphone, you should be able to, find something. And then I bring in the religious bodies, because we cannot leave all for the government. I know some churches. I mean, at least the church I also go to, and I know a whole lot of churches do that, and some religious bodies as well. As, I mean, it's not just for the church. I know they have this support structure. If you're sitting for WAEC, you're sitting for JAM, and things like that, and they help. I don't know if that is done in that locality, because I will always refer, to that locality. I will always refer to that locality, because it is key. It is key for us to know where that locality is, that maybe they are totally out of civilization. All what they know how to do on smartphone is TikTok. I blame them. They should take responsibility for this that has happened. But can we also come up with some support framework that we can help these people? We're talking about 106. And then at the end of the day, they now make them to go on a referral system, Ponzi scheme. Possibly they must have said, if you bring, I don't know how, I've not investigated, that if you can bring one person, you will have maybe 50% discount in your, I don't know what it is, the Ponzi scheme around it. So you could see that they are desperate. But hey, who caused all this? They themselves should take responsibility, because they're excess, or anybody that can make use of a smartphone, you should take accountability of what you use on that smartphone, particularly as an SS. Then, of course, the parents. Yes, someone might say, oh, they're illiterate and all that. Hey, even the illiterate too, then they use them now. Oh. You understand? To say, okay, you can actually ask somebody who is educated in that community, please let me check. Because There's a whole lot of information that is on YouTube, that is on TikTok, and so many things. So you should be interested in what is happening in the life of your children. Well, I want to be able to talk from my own area. I always look at where are the areas of continuous improvement. Where can we do better so that this will not happen again? This has happened and they're investigating it. But we should not just stay there. But we should look at it at what have I caused in this? As a parent, how did this one happen? As a student, how did this one happen? Even in that local community, I will drag the chairman into it. Why? How come this happened in your local government? So you are not aware of what is happening in your local government? Even the people that are, in charge of schools, they call them, they have their names. It's not just about going to schools to see what is happening. You should also be aware of your territory. Like, we're talking about the lion. The lion is aware of his territory. He knows the enemy within his territory. And when you see that what is happening here, you could do a search immediately. Thank God for the agencies, the NSD, whatever. We celebrate them today that they were able to fish this one out. And so that means they are working in that place. I'm sure they must have seen that. What kind of school is this? A 3-bedroom. What kind of institution is this? What is enough for the wise? I'd like to stop here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Buki. You touch on everything: governance, the NUC, the government itself, parents, the students themselves. You touch on everything. Nima, you want to say something?
Nothing.
Buki has touched on everything. She really did. She did. That's why she's our nation builder, because this thing is like how what was my phrase about the Phantom Agency? The more you look, the less you see. Because just reading this thing, like it's just amazing. Because what was it that they said? I think somewhere I saw they said maybe it was a foreign university. Foreign university, ma Nigeria with 3 class. Anyway,
I saw the 3. I thought it was their accommodation.
No. So it was accommodation for 106 students.
Actually, I agree with you. I'm not seeing anything.
You're not seeing exactly. This is still Women Radio 91.7 FM, the voice of women, Nigeria's first and only radio station for women and their families. And we've been speaking with our analyst, Buki Femi Ajala, on these incidents of the NSCDC busting a fake university somewhere in Badagry and rescuing 107 students. They need to change this phrasing from rescuing, because I don't know. I'm trying to think that out of 107 students, not one person was feeling uncomfortable. Not one person.
That is where we bring out what Buki said: critical thinking.
Not one person.
No one of them thought that something is wrong.
Okay. The phone lines are now open: 07000 917 917, 0800 123 5917, 09155 917 917. Those are the numbers to call. The phone lines, you can text 0703 1756 537 or 08155 917 917. Send your text messages, your WhatsApp messages, or your voice notes. Do we have any messages?
Yes, we have 3.
Go ahead.
Additional Wasil says, good morning to you in the studio. Rumors of Defense Minister Musa resigning from office is fake. I think FG needs to use people as scapegoats, because I don't understand how is it that some people would post pictures on social media and write rest in peace when the person is not dead.
Yeah, speaking on that, I saw on X David Boala, like you said, he had that. I was like, no, he's not. And I was like, this is the problem. Like, actually, along like what we should be able to. I think social media has got to the point where we don't know where to draw a line anymore. Like, you just say the worst possible thing. And right now, Elon Musk is paying you on Twitter for the numbers that you're racking up on Twitter. I'm like, so because you want to get money, you're saying the craziest thing that will
I
bring you
was viewing
engagement.
I was viewing someone's status this morning,
Mhm,
and his tweets, I didn't even see who he was responding to. But
mhm,
hey, how would you bring very sensitive information about you and your boyfriend
mhm,
and post it on Twitter?
mhm.
Don't you have sense of discernment? The guy was like, even if soldiers beat him, they cannot pull that information
Yeah.
out of him.
Boy, civilian one bed, and I talked about it, but a soldier wouldn't. Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm just wondering how we just you see things on social media and people just believe it.
Hook, line,
They
and
report.
sinker. Yeah.
There was this time about this Bolt driver then that the man was a scam.
Yeah, but I think it was fake.
It
Like
was fake.
she lied, or something like
The
that.
guy
Yeah.
came out crying that why
Yes, I saw
everybody
that.
now started posting, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Let's learn to sift information. That's
Ooh,
what
yes, very good.
additional Wasil is saying here.
Yes.
There must be control to using social media, especially on the bloggers. Please intervene now on the issue of petrol increment because citizens find it difficult to move from one place to another.
The petrol increment is not the government. Let me try and be on the government side this time around. It's not the war between Iran and US. When it started, I talked about it. Has started
So they
with
are no
this.
longer my people, Abby.
I don't know. I've left Nima to share and our people. Basically, the government, the war is what is causing this. Of course, I know that this is argument, like we can argue this thing out, but that's just the hand that we've been dealt. Our government is not doesn't really have foresight to plan ahead when it comes to like inflation due to maybe petrol or even food. So yeah, that's about that. The last one.
He says, give it's still from additional
Okay.
Wasil. Give Dangote crude oil in Naira and let's give it to Nigerians in Naira also. And FG should assist farmers so they can produce cheaper food for Nigerians
Mhm.
and also work on security so that many people can move into the agricultural sector.
I watched a podcast
Okay.
last week, and this he's a venture capitalist. He's venture. What's that name? He's a VC, and he was talking about how he ventured into agriculture. Every year, Nigeria loses about 14 billion on food. Let me explain. So a farmer has a big farmland.
Mhm.
He plants everything, blah blah blah, and then what has it? Let's just imagine. I'm going to cite the same example he gave. Let's just imagine he has 10 products,
Mhm.
right? That he wants 10 products from his farm that he has to send so that he can get money. What happens most of the time is he only ends up sending four
Yes.
because of different factors that are affecting, or say six, he ends up sending six. And ideally, the price of each maybe tomato is maybe two naira, right? So if you do 2 naira times 10, that's 20 naira. Unfortunately, he can only send six, which means that he's at a loss because that six will give him 120, as opposed to if he, what am I saying? My
We'll give
math.
him 12.
Yeah, we'll give him 12, beg your pardon, as opposed six as opposed to 12. So he's at a loss, basically. And because he's at a loss, he's trying to what do you call it, protect himself. He increases the tomatoes from
Yes.
2 naira to 20 naira or something because he has to cover for the losses
Everything has
because that
to.
six is bad already. That's number one that he said. Number two, he said was that at this point in time, the government needs to get ahead of things when it comes to agriculture and even using AI to help. He said, for instance, why other if you notice other countries don't say it's not plantain season, they just because they know how to preserve all these foods. So tomatoes can also be preserved in when if you have a green room, can be preserved. So when it's not in season
Mhm.
agriculturally, we're not suffering food inflation because something's not in season. Right now, we like plantain in our house, but we can't eat plantain because plantain is not in season. We bought a bunch about 2 weeks ago. Kenya will take one, like it
Yes.
own like one in 1 week or so, as
Mhm.
opposed to when it was in season. And if you buy a bunch, it will get ripe that same week. And this is our call upon the government because we let's not be penny wise pound foolish, in the sense of we can't forestall these losses, we can't forestall these disasters, but we're refusing to. What that means is, because we're refusing to, the farmer is increasing his price, and that good might not even get to Lagos in good shape. Now the person he's selling to is also going to add money to their own price.
Yes.
Wait till remain for me.
Anyway, Olusoga Ajayi says Adeyemi will be settled behind closed doors. So to accept he faked the agency, then he is found guilty and sentenced to prison. But he won't serve the sentence. He would enjoy himself outside the country. The script could be played then. Evangelist Shegun Oyedeji says, Fumi Nima Buki. Evangelist Shegun, my name is not Neme.
Nima, N-I-H apostrophe M-A-H. Yeah.
I continue to say it every time that we are just not normal here. Or tell me how some parents allow or even follow their words to 3-room apartment university. Gosh, I can't place it. The owner, the parents, the students should be arrested.
Yeah.
They must stop stressing your voice. Okay, thank you. Then he shares that these women deserve shekere. The Chief Justice of Nigeria is a woman.
Yeah.
The President of the Court of Appeal is a woman. The DG of Nigerian Law School is a woman. The President-elect of Nigerian Bar Association is a woman. Congratulations to Nigerian women.
Yeah. One thing that we will do is achieve, and we're glad about it. I think Buki wants to say something.
Oh yes, I want to celebrate women, everyone, and I look forward to when justice will not be tampered with. That blindfold will still be there. That as a woman, in these places, ensure that blindfold is not removed. Justice at all levels. Then we can celebrate our second level. This one is first level celebration. When you enter party, they first do peperepe before you go into the inner one. So we want to thank God that we have, our women in these high places. So we want to see influence, want to see impact, want to see transformation in the way justice is served. Thank you.
Mike, justice is served. Yes. I'm glad our women are achieving. Okay, let's quickly go to this next one. Okay, go ahead.
Good morning, Prince.
Good morning for me. Good morning, Nima. Good morning, Madam. Okay. When I find my trouble, I did not want to travel this week. See, I was waiting for something all this while. Nobody talked about it. Is it because it was not an INEC election? Buki,
What do you mean? What are you
Nima,
waiting for?
Hold on. Which of you were not aware of what transpired in that woman's election in the NBA? So nobody
There's
talks
been
about that.
controversy
It's
around it,
something
but
that they
nothing
are
has been
celebrating now
confirmed. So
because
we're
it
all
was
still
not
watching.
an
Our
INEC
eyes are still
election
watching.
for Nigeria. It was not a presidential or federal government state election. So nobody will close our eyes to the shenanigans that went on there. You are celebrating it now, Abi. And leave Nigeria for Nigerians to decide for.
Prince, you were angry. Oh. No vex. So let me drink cold water. Let me give you cold water. I'm serving you cold water. Don't be angry about it. Yeah, there's been controversy. Yes, in fact, this morning I was watching the video of the first runner up, but that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, this one before we go, because right about now the time is 18 minutes past 8. Kwankwaso Obi have agreed that Obi is only going to serve a 4-year term. Please note that whenever an aspiring candidate, whether governor, whether presidency, says they're only going to use one term, or says, "Oh, quote me by my word, if I don't do this, then do this thing to me," we've not really seen that happen, right?
Mhm.
The only time we've seen a president serve just one term was Goodluck Jonathan, right? And that's one of the things that he's been celebrated for. So when I saw this article, I was like, oh, Oga, please don't come and bubble anybody. But then Concourse is saying that they've signed a 4-year, one tenure deal, and that after
I know
that,
what you call.
okay, go ahead.
Hello, good morning, Madam Nema. Good morning, Madam Omi. Good morning. The best, and I still remain the best. I saw how you answer. Women is this, women is women. I watch exactly, say exactly my mind. Until that's it. That's what me coming on board and say you are the best analyst I know. I've been listening to you. Anytime you have to come on board, I will sit down fairly and listen. And I believe all you said, everything you have. Even when you say women is women, you say until. Yeah, because there are corruption in in that area is too much. I'm telling you, if we can get judiciary right, Nigeria will be. Because when this will do all they do in the election, will come to judiciary, they say the right. Or when you see all those, look at this Israel commander now, whereby they give life sentence. How can they give Israel commander life? I'm still following this thing up because yesterday I can't say I'm angry. I boiled. On the side, I made mistake. People that have killed, and this, this already requested for the release of these people, and you're giving them life. So tomorrow they will go and release them. They are Kaba in the government too. And I'm not happy. They have killed our brothers, our mothers, our sisters. And judiciary and lawyers stand for these people. That lawyer, that justice, and all these people, they should be arrested. And I don't know what to do. I'm not happy. I'm not happy. I mean,
Okay,
I want to say something. Like
okay, so let me can I chip in? Can I chip in? Because yeah, I mean, it's good for us.
Continue. I'm here to listen to you. Thank you.
Thank you for raising it up. You understand? I don't want you to think that we will sweep things underneath the carpet. We don't do that, even if a woman is involved. And I'm happy you raised this, you understand? But it was not part of what we wanted to discuss, but just to celebrate, women. And if you remember what I said, even with the fact that women are there, we want justice to be served, right? Yes, there are alleged irregularities. I mean, yes, but I think they're still looking at it. I even understand they are calling for a rerun. You understand? And some of the things that I've read, right, there were technical failures in the electronic voting system. I think about 82,000 or thereabout lawyers were eligible, but only maybe more than 20,000 were able to vote because of the technicalities, accessing of the voter order. So there was a bit of disenfranchisement and things like that. Hey, these are all things, and honestly, I would not want to be involved in such a thing like that. If truly there were irregularities like this, right, I would expect her, to say, what? Yes, let's call for a rerun. We're talking about justice. I mean, because they look at facts and things like that. If there are facts like that, hey, they need to do that. But our own is we can talk about it, we can analyze it, right? But on the surface, I don't think there was a deliberate manipulation from her. But even if there was, I believe that with everybody talking and all that, they would. And of course, I want to believe that they also have a way of assessing these things, MBA could be strengthened, I remember even in the days of Apata, there were allegations, so for every system of election and all that, there are always allegations. But I believe that something has to be done. They could actually, maybe in future, I don't know what's going to happen now, but maybe in future or occurrences or in future elections, all these issues that happen in terms of people not accessing the voting platform, not being able to do this technicality things should be looked at even before voting. But hey, if they, I mean, they're lawyers. I mean, they know the law, and if they feel that they need to do a rerun, I let them do a rerun. I mean, that's the way I will come out of it, because it will not be good, that these things are surrounding a woman. You understand? But hey, our own is to analyze it, and leave that for that. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Buki, for that, because that's where I was also going to go to, because I'm not going to lie, it crossed my mind. I was like, is all this... I remember the Akpata one too. That was also, a lot of Higi Haga controversy there. But this one, I was like, oh, is it because it's a woman? Or is it because she's an elite, so to speak, quote unquote? What exactly is going on? But again, like I said, like, we're celebrating this win because as of today, they've not asked for a rerun. As of today, nobody has said, oh, the result is wrong. I do understand people's agitations with regards this one and their fear of how this affects the 2027, the upcoming 2027 elections. Because I've seen quite a few reactions with it. So I get the agitation, because if we cannot conduct something as small as the NBA elections, then what was going to happen for us in the 2027 election? There's another matter of, if they redo it, if they try as much as possible to fix the mechanisms of the election, if they do it again and the guy wins, who's not to say people will not come out and say, oh, there were issues, I couldn't vote. So I think the NBA, the Nigerian Bar Association, and the powers that be need to figure out, or what to do. That's it. Like, what to do. Because it is possible that after everything, even the votes that did not count, those that could not vote, they are not even that would have done made her win. We don't know. Again, I'm not even a lawyer. All I know is that she's a woman and she's a competent woman. Like, when you check her dossier, you're like, yeah, this woman Baba the master, basically. So this is not me just wanting a woman to be in just for the fun of it. No, is that I've seen her CV. I've seen her. It's good. It's really, really good. And women winning would always be a plus for us. Women winning would always be something that we would share on and defend. Right?
Absolutely.
On that note, Buki was saying,
even for her to even get up to say, I want to be, let's celebrate her.
absolutely, we're going to celebrate her. That's what we're going to do. Okay, on that note, thank you so much, Buki, for being a part of today's conversation. I didn't want to put the NBA one because, like I said, there's controversy, there's no clarity there yet. So maybe tomorrow, maybe as it unfolds, we'll now go into it. So please, Prince and Evangelist Dixon, don't be upset, okay? We're not trying to be funny or anything like that. Buki, see you at 9:05 for her lens. Thank you so much for being a part of today's conversation. Bye for now.
Bye.